What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Philip, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Ezone 98 2022 edition. So getting into the specs, the racket comes in at 320 grams, 98 square inch head size with a 16-19 string pattern. The racket's balance is 6 points headlight with a swing weight of 315. The stiffness is 65 RA. The Yonex Ezone is basically a Yonex pure drive, if you think about it. It's meant for flat and strong, kind of driving the ball. So going into this review, I was a little skeptic. I have a more loopy swing path, and I don't usually enjoy these types of frames. Usually I enjoy lower powered frames. It took a little time to get used to, but once I did, I actually quite enjoyed it. So starting off with feel, I'm going to talk about how this racket felt, not how it performed, just the feel on contact. It was kind of crisp. It was crisp and muted in the sense that the ball flew and shot off, but it didn't make much vibration. It was very nice, like it was plush. And I really liked this. So if you're one of those players who used to play with a smaller, heavier head size, this racket probably won't be for you, as it's more modern. But if that's your cup of tea, definitely give it a demo. Next up, I'm going to talk about serves. The serves were definitely the highlight of this racket. The balls were just flying and like they were going in. It just felt crisp. I have no complaints on the serves. Flat serve felt quite easy to just knock down the tee, knock out wide, and it had a lot of power. Really easy to arc it down. On the slice serve, it was really easy to get that bite and that side spin, and it really threw off my opponent. And on the kick serve, the jump of the ball was really easy to produce, and it was very ultra consistent. I think the 98 plus the Yonex isometric head size really made like the sweet spot quite large, and just no complaints here. On the serves, like amazing. If you have trouble serving, give this racket a try. Next up, I'm going to talk about how Yonex blended control and power in this racket. For this frame, they definitely sacrificed some control for the power. You really need to get behind the ball correct. If you don't put the right amount of topspin, the ball will soar. It's really meant for someone who can keep the ball low. And this was quite sad to me because I always find that the lower powered rackets can be used up to a higher level. But this one, I just felt if I really swung out, it was nice, but it was limiting me sometimes and I had to hold back. However, it would be well suited for someone who can't quite generate their own power yet, or is a little smaller or just can't get proper depth consistently. It did even help me sometimes get the depth, which is very good. Next up, I'm going to talk about the forehand, how it felt on this racket. Driving the forehand was fun. I'm not even going to lie. I enjoyed ripping it. It was quite refreshing, you know. But tennis isn't about power, it's about placement. And so for that reason, I think I was limited in my potential with this racket. Off the backhand wing, completely different story. The crisp, like just the solid power I could get off of this frame was really satisfying. I hit solid driven backhands. Now, if I wanted to vary the spin, go a little higher, it was harder. But backhands are usually nice to drive for me. That's how I like to hit mine. So no complaints here. Next up, covering the forehand slice. I actually really enjoyed this. I found that I was able to drive the ball and keep it low, so I could really aggressively slice it. And when I was put on the defense, I could just kind of knock it and it would at least get in. You know, it's a good shot to just save yourself. Forehand slices for the approach, however, I found flew a little bit. On the other hand, backhand slice, completely different story. I was able to drive the ball so beautifully. I was not missing. I was able to even turn the slice into a drop shot if I needed. Approaching on the backhand was magnificent. I was able to get a good side spin on the ball. So this frame is amazing for slices and just ground strokes in general. And which is actually a really nice combo because oftentimes to mess up an opponent, you have to vary just from like a topspin shot to a backspin. That's enough to even make some people make errors. So if you have trouble sometimes varying it, definitely try out this racket. Next up, I'm going to cover volleys. Volleys, I actually really enjoyed with this frame. The large amount of string bed was really nice to just slice the ball and let it die down. I really enjoyed this racket on the slices. It was very good, the slice volleys in particular. And for punch volleys, it was just about the same. You just put the racket, push it forward, and boom, no more work needed. It was mwah, beautiful. So getting closer to the end, I just want to give my overall thoughts on this racket. I feel like this racket is very good for a neutral defensive player. It's good to attack with, but the balls will soar if you get too ultra aggressive. So if you want to be quite consistent and plant yourself at the baseline, it's a very good racket. Not a frame I would switch through just because it doesn't suit my playstyle, but a racket worth demoing for defensive baseliners, in my opinion. Another thing worth mentioning, just a few ATP pros who use this racket as well. Most notably, probably Nick Kyrgios, then Alex Bublik. Casper Ruud also uses a variant of this. So the frame is viable to higher levels. It's worth it. Overall, I'm going to give the racket a 7 out of 10. It's good, but it's not my cup of tea. For me, it was the control. It's just a little too much for me. The stability was very nice, but the control just wasn't there. It also didn't feel very maneuverable to me. But if you've played with this frame, please leave a comment down below with your experience. I would be curious to hear what you guys have to say. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future, and hope you guys have a great day. And as usual, let me know what racket you guys want next, and here's some highlights for your enjoyment.